Hello friend, this is Ryan Hicks of TalkToProfit.com, and today I want to talk to you about why Mark 11:23 does not work for everyone. Now, many people say it doesn't work at all, or they try to make some symbolic, mysterious thing about it and try to just basically talk themselves out of it and say it doesn't really apply. But here's something very important that so often people miss. I want to quote you verse 22 first in Mark chapter 11, and then verse 23. I want you to see something vitally important that so many people misunderstand. Mark chapter 11, verse 22, Jesus says, "Have faith in God. For verily I say unto you that whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and be thou cast into the sea, and shall not doubt in his heart, but shall believe that those things which he saith shall come to pass, he shall have whatsoever he saith." It's very important because people see whosoever, they see whatsoever, and they think, oh, okay, great. And they pray some prayer, they think of something, and they don't get it. But notice what Jesus says, and this is going to be a mighty revelation for many people. I guarantee you some people have read this verse thousands of times, and they didn't understand this. Jesus says, whosoever shall say. So the first qualification for this, of the whosoever, it's only those people who say, and what do they say? They say things unto the mountain. So unto the problem, unto the circumstance, unto the situation, they speak. So in this particular case, Jesus says, if you say unto the mountain, Be thou removed and be thou cast in the sea, and you don't doubt in your heart, but believe those things you say shall come to pass, you'll have whatsoever you say. But the whatsoever you have is the things you said, but what did you say? You spoke to the situation, the problem, the obstacle, whatever it is. And I'll give you an example in my own life. When I was a teenager and broke, and I wanted to go to a church, and it was about 30 miles away from me, and my car was on empty. And I prayed, and I spoke to my car, and decreed that it would run, and I would get to the church and back and be fine. However that had to happen, I believed it. And me and my friend, we went out right on. We went to the church. Somebody at the church, who I didn't know, this is not a church I went to, came up to me and gave me money. Said, the Lord told me to give you this for your gas. Now, why did that happen? Well, first I believed. I spoke to the situation. I decreed the thing I want. I believed in my heart. I didn't doubt, and it came to pass. But there's also the practical part of it that God saw my faith, and he saw someone else needed to be a blessing. So it was helping both them to give to me. It was helping me to have money to be able to buy gas and see God just operating in my life. Not only did I get there with no gas, I was able to get money and get more gas, enough for another week or two. At least back then, not today, of course. Now, I have to be very clear. You have to be operating in faith. Because notice Jesus says, you shall not doubt in your heart. You can't go just talking randomly to random stuff. I'm going to talk to the bank and have them send me money. You don't have faith for that. You will doubt in your heart. So you will not receive what you are speaking about. You will not receive the things that you are wanting. You have to have faith, which means the things you are speaking, you have to be in full faith and confidence about. You can't be wavering. You can't be doubting. You can't be in unbelief. You can't be just testing things out. Well, I'm going to see if this works out. If you don't believe it, it won't work for you. And that is why Mark chapter 11, verse 23 does not work for most people. First thing, they don't speak to the situation. So that immediately nullifies it in their lives. But then if they do happen to actually figure that out, they don't even believe. They're just playing around. They're just testing. It's no different than somebody throwing a coin into a wishing fountain and hoping that the wish they give is going to come to pass. It won't happen any more than that because there's no faith involved. Matter of fact, people going to a wishing fountain, if they actually threw that coin in and believed that it would work, they have a better chance of actually getting the result they want than the person who's going in, and I'm going to believe Mark 11:23, and they don't speak to the mountain, they don't really believe it in their heart, they doubt it, and they don't get what they want. And they don't have whatever they say, because what they say is things that are contrary. I had a friend many years ago when I was a teenager, early on in ministry, by the name of Charles Capps. And he gave me a great word that the Lord had told him, and I may be getting this a little bit off, but it was basically, I've told my people that they can have what they say, but they have been saying what they have. And that's so true, my friend. We are here, and we should be speaking the things we want, even speaking to the mountain if need be, speaking to the circumstances, speaking to the situations, and getting the best results. And that does not mean bad things only, because sometimes people misunderstand and think, well, the mountain can only be a bad thing. No, it could just be something that's not exactly the way you want it. Everything could be going perfectly, and you speak to the things that are going perfectly to get even better results. But it has to be done in faith, not wavering, not doubting, not questioning, not just testing it out. It won't work then, my friend. Mark chapter 11, verse 23 is one of the most powerful passages in the entire Bible because of the deep impact it has in showing you how you are created in the image and likeness of God. Because God went around speaking, we see in Genesis chapter 1, and things were. We, being created in His image and likeness, can also speak, and things will be. But we have, obviously, the limitations of humanity and the fact that we are not in that perfected state to where everything we would say would be what needs to be done. Because that is one of the blessings we have. Sometimes people get mad about, well, why do things just not happen immediately? Because if you had things you wanted and you had them immediately, it would, in many cases, cause a lot of problems, because most people are not following Philippians 4:8, so they would think something negative, and then they immediately get that negative thing. They would say something stupid like, well, that's sure bugging me to death, or I'm sick and tired of that, and they would get sick and tired. You can't have that in the conditions we live in right now. Now, you can get to such an exalted place in the Lord, being led by the Spirit, that you'll start to see your manifestations come real quickly, like immediately in many cases. But it's always going to be predicated on the fact that you must believe, you must not waver, you must not doubt, and you must be willing, as foolish as it may seem, to speak to the mountain, to speak to the situation, to speak to the person even. Now, you don't have to do it in front of them because they might think you're insane. But you can speak. If there's a person who's a problem in your life, you can speak and get a different result from them. If there's situations and circumstances, bosses and jobs and bills even, you can speak and decree that bills be paid in full and get that result. But you got to do it by faith. Maybe you're not at that level yet. That's perfectly fine. Doesn't matter where you are. You can start with something small and believe for that, and not doubt, not waver, and build your faith for bigger things, for greater things. But you can't be this person that just goes around, well, I just don't understand why God's allowing this to happen. If anything's happening in your life that you don't want, understand that the person who allowed it is not God, it's not even the devil, it's you. And you got to take responsibility for your life, my friend. God is good. He's a blesser. He sent His Son that you might have life and that more abundantly. He sent His Son and made His Son become poor that you through His poverty might be rich. There's no blessing He's withholding from you, no good thing that He will withhold from you. He's given you all things freely to enjoy. It's up to you, my friend. Are you going to believe? Are you going to speak to the mountain? Or are you going to sit back and do nothing? Or are you going to sit back and whine and cry about the circumstances and cry about the mountain being in your way instead of speaking and decreeing that it be cast into the sea and not doubting in your heart, but believing those things you say will come to pass and having whatsoever you say? My friend, I pray this is a blessing for you. May God bless you richly.